The gym was almost empty that evening, the kind of quiet that makes every sound feel louder than it should. The only people left were a few trainees cleaning up their gear and a tired cleaner mopping the far corner, trying to finish his shift without drawing attention. But that silence broke the moment Darren, a young black belt known for his confidence and loud personality, spotted the cleaner. With a grin that suggested he was looking for entertainment, he called out across the room, asking the cleaner if he wanted to fight for fun. At first, everyone thought it was a joke, just Darren being playful again. But the cleaner lifted his head slowly, his expression calm, almost unreadable. People glanced at each other, whispering, unsure whether this was friendly banter or something else. The cleaner, a quiet black man named Malik, had always kept to himself. No one knew much about him, except that he worked hard, never complained, and showed up on time every day. Darren waited, still smiling, expecting Malik to laugh it off or walk away. But Malik did neither. He stepped forward, placing the mop aside gently, as if making a decision he had been avoiding for a long time. A hush spread across the gym. Even Darren's smile faded a little as he realized Malik wasn't joking. Something in Malik's eyes suggested a story nobody knew, a past he never talked about, and a skill Darren wasn't ready for. And just as Malik took another step closer, everything changed. For a moment, Darren didn't know whether to laugh or back away. Malik's steady steps didn't look threatening, but there was something controlled about the way he moved, something that didn't match the simple uniform he wore every night. The other trainees pretended to busy themselves, but their eyes stayed locked on the two men. No one wanted to interfere. No one wanted to miss whatever was about to happen. Malik stopped a few feet from Darren, his voice low and calm, as he asked if Darren was sure about the challenge. The gym lights flickered slightly, adding an eerie tension to the moment. Darren tried to keep the mood light, insisting it was just harmless fun, but Malik only watched him with a measured look. It was the first time anyone had heard him speak more than a polite greeting. Something about his tone hinted that fun wasn't the word he would have chosen. People started remembering small moments they had overlooked: how Malik's posture was always straight, how he moved like he was trained, how he never seemed surprised by sudden noise or motion. Rumors whispered in the back of their minds. Maybe he wasn't just a cleaner. Maybe he had a past. Maybe he had once lived a completely different life. But no one dared to ask. Darren finally nodded, trying to stand taller, trying to prove he wasn't backing down. Malik exhaled slowly, almost like he had expected this moment for a long time. Then he lifted his hands, not in aggression, but in a quiet readiness that sent a chill through the room. The air in the gym felt heavier now, as if everyone had suddenly forgotten how to breathe. Darren shifted his weight from one foot to the other, trying to read Malik's intentions, but Malik's expression stayed calm, almost peaceful. That calmness made the moment even more intense. It didn't feel like a challenge anymore. It felt like a revelation was quietly unfolding. One trainee, Jordan, watched from the corner while pretending to wipe down equipment. He had seen Malik outside once, practicing slow, precise movements behind the building when he thought no one was around. At the time, Jordan dismissed it as stretching or a hobby. Now he wasn't so sure. He whispered to another trainee that Malik might have real training, but the other guy brushed it off, insisting Malik was just a cleaner trying to look confident. Still, doubt lingered in both of their eyes. Even the gym manager, Misro, who had returned to grab her keys, paused near the door. She narrowed her eyes, recognizing something in Malik's stance, an old habit she hadn't seen in years. She didn't say anything, but her expression hinted that Malik's story was far more layered than anyone realized. Darren finally broke the silence by taking a step forward, lifting his hands like he was ready to begin. But the moment he moved, Malik's eyes sharpened, not with anger, but with focus. The kind of focus that comes from experience, not play. Darren hesitated, sensing that this fun fight was no longer something he controlled, and before anyone could process what was happening, Malik shifted his foot slightly, preparing for something no one in the room expected. Everyone in the gym leaned in without meaning to, their eyes locked on Malik as he shifted his stance. It wasn't aggressive, just controlled for someone who supposedly spent his days sweeping floors. Darren felt a slight chill run through him, though he kept his face steady, not wanting anyone to think he was second-guessing himself. But deep down, something told him this wasn't going to be the easy fun match he had imagined. Malik's calm breathing filled the silence. Darren, usually loud and confident, suddenly felt every sound in the room: the faint hum of the lights, the distant thump of a treadmill shutting off, even his own heartbeat. He tried to shake off the tension by bouncing lightly on his feet, but Malik didn't mirror the movement. Instead, he stayed perfectly still, watching Darren with a quiet focus that made the room feel smaller. Jordan exchanged a nervous look with the trainee beside him. Everyone could sense something big was about to unfold, something that had nothing to do with ego or rank. Malik wasn't showing off. It felt like he was stepping into a part of himself he had kept hidden for years. Besro took a step closer, her eyes widening slightly as if she finally recognized the discipline behind Malik's posture. She opened her mouth to say something, maybe to stop things before they went too far, but she hesitated, unsure if interrupting would make things worse. Darren raised his hands higher, ready to begin, but just as he did, Malik moved not fast, not slow, but with a precision that froze the entire gym. It was the kind of movement that made everyone realize this moment was about to change everything, before anyone could blink. Malik's precise shift in movement revealed something no one expected. It wasn't an attack, it was a subtle defensive form, the kind used by someone trained to avoid unnecessary harm. But the real shock came a heartbeat later, when the gym door swung open, and a man in a crisp jacket stepped inside, scanning the room with sharp eyes. He looked out of place, too formal for a gym, too focused to be a random visitor. Ms. Rose stiffened the second she saw him. Darren noticed her reaction and hesitated mid-stance, his confidence wavering again. The man didn't say a word as he walked closer, but the tension followed him like a shadow. Malik lowered his hands slowly when he saw him, his expression shifting from calm concentration to something more guarded. The trainees exchanged confused glances. Jordan whispered, asking if the newcomer was some kind of coach or inspector, but no one knew for sure. Malik's posture wasn't just controlled anymore, it was cautious, almost like he had been discovered. The man stopped a few steps away from Malik and spoke quietly, yet every word carried. He mentioned a name no one recognized, but the way Malik reacted, his slight flinch, made it clear the name belonged to a past he had tried to leave behind. Darren swallowed hard. This wasn't a simple challenge anymore. Whatever Malik had been hiding was now standing right in front of them, and the stranger's presence changed the entire atmosphere. As Malik and the man locked eyes, the room felt charged, as if the real confrontation hadn't even started yet. Everyone knew the next moment could shift everything. The room stayed frozen as Malik and the stranger stared at each other, the weight of unspoken history filling the quiet gym. Darren slowly lowered his hands, finally understanding this moment had nothing to do with a harmless challenge. Malik took a breath, steady but heavy, and stepped forward. The stranger spoke again, this time using the same name he had said earlier only now. He added that Malik had been one of the most disciplined students he had ever trained, a student who had disappeared years ago, after walking away from a dangerous lifestyle he never wanted to return to. The trainees stared at Malik with new eyes. Darren felt his stomach tighten, realizing he had unknowingly provoked someone who had once lived a life filled with real conflict. Not the friendly sparring he was used to, but instead of anger, Malik showed something else: peace. He told the stranger calmly that he wasn't that person anymore, and he wouldn't fight to prove anything. Not today, and not for entertainment. Darren apologized quietly, his voice losing all its usual confidence. Malik nodded, accepting it with grace. For a moment, it seemed like everything had settled, the tension dissolving into relief. But then the twist came. The stranger revealed why he had shown up, not to drag Malik back, but to warn him. Someone else from Malik's past had been looking for him, someone who didn't believe Malik had truly walked away. The stranger said he came first to give him a choice. The gym fell silent again, but this time the fear wasn't about a fight, it was about what might be coming next. Malik stood quietly, letting the stranger's warning settle. For a long moment, he didn't say a word. The trainees watched him with a mix of worry and respect, suddenly realizing the quiet cleaner they barely noticed carried a past much heavier than any of them could imagine. Darren stepped forward, his voice gentle now, asking if Malik was in danger. Malik shook his head with a calm certainty. He explained that walking away from his old life wasn't about fear, it was about choosing peace, choosing a